What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, this one's going to burn. Because what Ben Shapiro did on national TV wasn't just a debate, it was a total demolition of Ilhan Omar's hypocrisy, her double standards, and her shocking disrespect for America.
Congressman Ilhan Omar and her allies now using a new tactic against Donald Trump and the GOP. So after the president dinged the freshman rep in a tweet over her insensitive comments about 9/11, the freshman rep said that the mere criticism of her was akin to the incitement of violence. The media echo chamber, of course, was quick to highlight her concerns.
Nancy Pelosi is asking the U.S. Capitol Police to conduct a security assessment for Congresswoman Omar. The speaker is one of many Democrats now accusing the president of trying to incite violence against the first-term lawmaker.
Joining me now is Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire's editor-in-chief and author of the brand-new book, The Right Side of History, which is fantastic. Ben, now, this isn't about free speech. This is about downplaying one of the darkest days in our nation's history. Your take?
That's, of course, true, and she has a long history of not taking terrorism particularly seriously. In 2013, she did an interview in Minnesota in which she joked about people taking al-Qaeda and Hezbollah more seriously than they took America and England. And then in 2016, she wrote a letter in which she tried to have a judge be more lenient with people who tried to join ISIS, saying that, of course, these were people who only became violent because of American marginalization. And then in 2017, she wrote a column for Time magazine in which she suggested that America was rooted and founded on slavery and genocide. And in order for us not to look that in the face, instead, we focused on international terror. This is not someone who takes terrorism particularly seriously, so I am bewildered as to why quoting her would constitute some form of violation of her personage. It would be a violation of free speech or something nonsensical like that.
Ben, just so people know what we're talking about here, I want to play that soundbite that you're referencing where she talks about the way people say al-Qaeda. Let's watch.
When I was in college, I took a terrorism class. Every time the professor said Al-Qaeda, he sort of like his shoulders went up, and
he's in command here.
Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah. You don't say America with an intensity. You don't say England with an intensity. You don't say the army with an intensity.
Well, and Ben, Pete Buttigieg, we talked about him earlier. He's the new star of the Democrat Party. He's edged out Beto O'Rourke, and now he's taken that spot in the spotlight. He talked today about the consequences of otherizing people like her. I thought you'd love this. Let's watch.
One of the worst things that's happening right now is otherizing people. And if we're wondering whether this has real-world consequences, look no further than what happened not long ago in New Zealand. And yes, by the way, the president demonizing Representative Omar is part of this. It's dangerous and it's got to stop.
Otherizing, Ben.
Well, very odd, since Representative Omar has 3 times in the last 3 months been chided for openly anti-Semitic statements, and then the Democratic Party has defended her. I'm amused to watch as the Democratic Party suggests that criticism and quoting of Ilhan Omar amounts to violent incitement, where Representative Omar can say whatever Jew-hating thing she wants on a daily basis, and that is not incitement. Now, I agree, it's not incitement in either case, but to pretend that it is incitement when it's stuff you don't like, and it's not incitement when it's stuff that you do, seems pretty irresponsible at the mildest.
Ilhan Omar once again played her favorite card, the victim card. After Donald Trump called out her insensitive remarks about 9/11, she cried that his criticism was the same as inciting violence against her. Yes, you heard that right. Simply holding her accountable was somehow putting her life in danger. And the left-wing media, they couldn't resist. They rushed to defend her like she was America's most fragile flower. Nancy Pelosi even demanded Capitol Police assess her security, all while completely ignoring why Omar was being criticized in the first place. Enter Ben Shapiro. Calm, prepared, and absolutely ready for war. He didn't yell, he didn't insult, he just dropped fact after fact that burned through every layer of her excuses. He reminded everyone that this isn't the first time Ilhan Omar has disrespected this country. Back in 2013, she literally laughed about how people say Al-Qaeda with more seriousness than America. She joked, yes, joked, about terrorism like it was a college prank. And Shapiro nailed it perfectly. This is not someone who takes terrorism seriously. You could feel the temperature drop. The studio went silent. No one could defend that clip, but Shapiro didn't stop there. Oh no, he torched her record piece by piece. In 2016, Omar wrote a letter begging for leniency for ISIS recruits, calling them victims of American marginalization. Let that sink in. Defending people who wanted to join a terrorist organization that murdered innocent civilians. Then, in 2017, she wrote a column suggesting that America's foundation in slavery and genocide distracts from terrorism. Excuse me? The country that gave her freedom, opportunity, and a seat in Congress, and a snorri, dairy, injury, and ganders, and she repays it by spitting on its history. Ben exposed it all. No editing, no spin, just her own words. And here's where Shapiro hit them hardest. The Democratic hypocrisy. He called it out plain and simple. When Ilhan Omar spews anti-Semitic garbage, the left rushes to protect her. Oh, she didn't mean it that way. But when conservatives quote her own words, suddenly, that's violent incitement. Pete Buttigieg even jumped in, whining that Trump was otherizing Omar and putting her in danger. Give me a break. The same people who defend hate speech from Omar now claim truth is violence. Shapiro blew that narrative to pieces. The left didn't know where to hide. By the end, Ben Shapiro didn't just debate Ilhan Omar, he exposed her. He showed the world that she's not misunderstood. She's arrogant, ungrateful, and dangerously dismissive of the country that gave her everything. No amount of media spin or victimhood can change the truth. You can't laugh about Al-Qaeda, you can't defend ISIS recruits, you can't insult America and then cry when people call you out. Ben Shapiro held up a mirror, and Ilhan Omar didn't like what she saw. So here's the bottom line. Shapiro didn't attack Omar. He held her accountable, and that's something the left can't handle anymore. Accountability. It's time we stop letting politicians hide behind identity politics and start demanding honesty, integrity, and love for this country. If you agree that truth should never be silenced, hit that like button, drop a fiery comment below, and subscribe to the channel for more straight-up political showdowns. Because here, we don't play favorites, we play facts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.